Alright, this is a very small tutorial, hopefully. Um, yeah, these are your difficulties, just put it on regular. Generally, I like historical AI, it just means the game goes historical. And let's start. There was Iron Man as well, that's for achievements, but honestly, you don't need to play Iron Man. Okay, what are all these things? Political power. You do political stuff with this. Stability. It's how stable your country is. War support. How much your population is willing to fight in the war. Your manpower, self-explanatory. Your factories, self-explanatory. Your fuel, you need it for all the things listed. Logistics, this is telling you how supplied your armies are. And convoys. That's for trade and for supply overseas. Command power, this is for special abilities from your commanders. Army experience, self-explanatory, same thing with Navy and Air. It is used to design modules and to edit templates. These things here, these are icons. They will tell you what needs to happen. Generally, you can ignore most of them. For example, no divisions in basic training or outdated equipment or insufficient resources, not very needed. Unassigned divisions, you hold left shift, left click, and it selects all of them. Otherwise, press escape to cancel. Otherwise, it selects one at a time. So select all, right click into this general icon here, and right click into the field marshal here. The general, you can select your generals here. It has all of these statistics. Basically, the better attack, the better it is. So we'll do Rundstedt, and we'll do Bloomberg. Your divisions, your commander has a certain amount of divisions and armies it can command. Generally, use the number provided. Okay, here are your army plans. Some of them are not particularly important, but what's most important is training, and all of them have shortcuts. So training is K. Flexible cohesion doesn't really matter, but it's generally best to do balanced. Front line. This is the important one. We're going to do Z, and we're going to click on a country, and that makes a front line. Then we do left control, and that assigns all the troops. We'll just move up speed, press space to unpause, and that assigns all the troops to that front line. Press X to draw a battle plan. And if you left click, the troops will automatically attack. This is generally not recommended because your troops will attack into defendable positions when it's generally better to just micro. Okay. You can also delete if you have the del key. I don't, so I just use the manual button. You can use Z and Shift. Z and Shift with the Field Marshal to create a defensive line. Why this is important is because if you do not make a defensive line and you have multiple generals in a field army, bad habit, you will have your generals take up certain frontline combat width, frontline width. And you only have these divisions here, and they will never be here. And this is really annoying for micro, because your tanks could be, let's say you're doing Barb, your tanks could be all the way in Leningrad when you want them to be in Stalingrad. Okay. Decisions. This is your decisions. You do political things with this. You use your political power. Intelligence agency. This is DLC slop. Not really necessary. Research. This is your research tree. Generally, it's best to research things that are in your time frame. If they are ahead of time, there's a big penalty, and it's generally not worth. The most important research in the game is to do the mechanical computing, because that gives more research speed. International market, this is another DLC slop, you don't really need to know. Trade. When you have a resource shortage, you trade for civilian factories, and you can import or export. Exports are done automatically, and exporting is kinda not really that good in the base game. Construction. This is where you construct things. The most important is civ factories and mill factories. You build, and you wait. 15 factories produce 150 industrial output. There you go, construction speed 150. Construction speed 75, and it would be 150 if we had 100% infrastructure. Right, infrastructure increases the speed of construction and more resources. Production. This is where you assign ships or planes or tanks to be built. You just click on these here and add new, and you bring it up to the top. You don't have to, you just can, and you put how many factories you want. As the line matures, it'll get more production efficiency and it will increase production more. Each factory produces 4.5 industrial capacity, and now it is being produced at 10%, so it's 0.45 per factory. And you can see here the cost of certain items. Recruitment and deployment. This is where you add new divisions. This is also where you can toggle your priority. Generally, I have it the most on reinforcements, and you can put garrisons at the lowest, for example, but that's not really necessary. Here you have the division template designer. You add battalions. They have a certain combat width. That's the main statistic. These statistics are all important, but the main thing is your soft attack, your combat width, and your organization. Keep these things high, and you're generally going to be good. Things like artillery and tanks lower your organization, but add more attack. Logistics. This is just showing you what you have and what you do not have, and how much you're producing and how much you're using. It's quite basic, really. Officer Corps. This is, I think, a DLC slop. This is where you add certain bonuses for the military, certain commanders, and theorists. There's also the doctrine. The doctrine is kind of, it changed, it's new, but once you got enough experience in your required field, you just click whichever one thinks is going to give you the best stats. Generally, it's better to go some kind of defensive postures or mobile infantry. Just use whatever's meta. You can search, what is the Hoi4 meta? And you'll find a million slop videos on YouTube about it. You see, this is what the doctrines used to look like. They haven't updated special forces. Okay, click on your flag. This is your intel. This is where you see your economy law, your oh my stutium, exports, conscription, political advisors, MIOs. This is another DLC slop. You don't really need to know about MIOs. You just click the thing, and it gives bonuses for when you've produced enough of said thing. Military staff, once again, this is where you spend your political power. Okay, occupied territory. This is where you would see your occupied territories. Pretty self-explanatory. Generally, it's best to have them on civilian oversight because compliance growth is very strong in this game. But if you're having manpower issues, you can do local police force, or if you want more factories right now, you can do harsh quotas. You can play around. All right. Now, this is the national focus tree. This is basically your mission tree. This is where you decide what path to go down. Generally, most people just do historical because that's where all the good stuff is. There is ahistorical, but it's more DLC slop, and you just go down a path. You click, and it tells you how many days it'll take, and once it's done, you meet the conditions, and you can go on whatever's next. Alright. You have your army buttons, your overviews here. You can click on these buttons and click this little tag here and see how much equipment you actually have in the field. This can be very useful, for example, to do a certain focus, such as Anschluss. You need 50,000 infantry equipment. And here we see we only have 28,000. Oh, 25,000 is even worse. Same thing with your navy. You can see all the types of ships, lost ships, all the types of planes. You can also see all your stats that affect your military. And that's really about it. There's so much more to do, but this is a brief overview of the game. So enjoy your Hoi4 slop.